Tiff and Rach here. We are the Nobodies, and today this is our car cast. You will find it somewhat noisier than the usual experience, and that is because we had to pivot, and we are at our lunch break today, reaching out to you guys from the car. We're discussing what was our first real attempt at the arms as the third session of our integration sessions of this 12 series. Now, are you confused? Because that's a lot of numbers and a lot of things. We have 2 arms. We're going there. So it's session 11 of 12.
Yes.
It's the third of the integration sessions. Remember, from the beginning, we differentiated, we cleaned, we glided, we delaminated. Now we're trying to bring everything together. And part of that is what we call draping the arms and the shoulders back onto the rib cage, which is a very big task for a single session.
It's a heck of a lot of territory.
Yep.
We express ourselves and connect to the world via our arms and hands for most people who have them. Mm-hmm. And, we really have so much availability and dexterity. And when we are taking on these lines, we want to look at where the roots of the arms are, which are in the deep shoulder, and
AKA armpit,
armpits.
AKA fascial secrets.
Oh, so many secrets. I found some of Tiff's yesterday. As a session that is really important to Tiffany that I was giving and she receiving, I shouldn't say that. They were both important for both of us. Her pattern involves her shoulders in a different way than mine does. And her session yesterday, what we both said to one another, actually it was while I was giving her session, she remarked while I was working on her that I'm really proud of us that we're really taking this to that next level of caring about what the other person needs and not just running the lines with each other.
Trying to apply random techniques and copy each other or try something that the other one tried, which is part of the learning journey as a student, but not how we wanted to treat each other.
And, we recognize that this is our, first crack at it with each other and as a whole. And so it was a really big deal that we both found that we found each other's number 3s yesterday in a lot of capacity. Tiffany knows her body really well. I shared this in the morning with our, undressing of what yesterday's sessions were in class. And I made a point that, she knows her body so well that oftentimes she'll say things that are like, this is where I'm held here and this is what I'm feeling here. And I'm like, yesterday I had this great sense that there is some more things in different areas that she's not calling to, which would be considered her number 2s, because number 1s are things that overtly would kind of cause you grief or discomfort on a regular basis or a very noticeable pattern with you. The number 2s are things that kind of come to pass. We've discussed this once before, but and you kind of start to get into those areas a little bit and you're like, this is sometimes a thing, this isn't an all-time thing. And then the number 3s are the ones that are really not in your vision. They're not in your periphery. They're not in some of those areas that you even know that they're coming from. And I took some chances yesterday and went with my intuition, and I feel like it was a fruitful session. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of new findings and new feelings, and some what we would call tailings and leftovers from other sessions that we kind of went back to and then visited the corners of, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and it's funny because from a intellectual level, I can know that, I have a really good inclination of where it is that I'm held. And it turns out that some of that was true. I can't feel it as well, but I know based on this work and based on my positioning, I'm like, I bet it's here because this is what this work is telling me. And so it's really cool to be able to put that together, even though it may not be sensorially readily available to me yet, right? Because that's how it works, is that, there are things that you're aware of physically and that there are places that you're not. And that's what we hope to draw your attention to as clients, is those places that you may not be aware of, where you're holding emotion and physical tension and stress and all of the things, all of the weights of the world on your shoulders. And this was a really big session for both of us, and it just unfolded quite lovely, and we're both still feeling the soreness and the after effects today, but both had really interesting, like, new experiences with our ranges of motion at the gym. And just for me, I had this sense of, like, connection to my shoulders that I haven't really had in a long time, and that my lower body could connect to my upper body in a really nice way that wasn't happening before. So, yeah.
My teary moment came when the fact that it has been an ongoing saga of my thoracic spine, which sits very anterior, so ahead of itself, where it doesn't have a lot of curve to it, and it puts my heart wide open for the taking. It pushes my chest forward and rolls my shoulders back. And I've really been working hard on my length and working hard on connecting my breath to those quieted areas in my body. And I could really feel my breath connect to my mid-thoracic spine that I hadn't been able to as of yesterday. And carrying that through my day in my biomechanics, and not being a Clydesdale and ramming through everything, but also recognizing that my capacity to understand how something feels on somebody else, I can't say that I know what someone feels, but having an attention and an awareness to those areas that were so quiet for so long, even though they were noisy in the sense that they created discomfort sometimes. Like, I would have a rib that would sublex like very regularly for a very long time in my early 20s, not really realizing that some of these things probably have been precipitating themselves since then. And yeah, I'm now in a place in my body that I'm brought to awareness on them. There's going to be deeper stuff down the line in new series and in new time. And this is also a great reminder. We finished this session yesterday, and we take a look at each other, and we get landed by the person, by our teacher, just to, see what our outcomes were, whether good or bad or impartial. And something that was brought to our attention is that, this work, it's reminders upon reminders that this is an unfolding. We are not an instantaneous projection of what has happened during this session.
Nope.
This is a long-term investment, and that fascia can take days, months, up to a year to change. 6 months down the line, you might be behaving and moving in a completely different way than on the day of that session that you had. But that had a heck of a lot to do with what you're doing now.
Right. When we are working in the fascia, we are a lot of times breaking up adhesion or stuckness, where fascial layers can get stuck to each other and create big gloms of muscle groups that move as a unit and create dysfunction. And so you feel that. It's kind of a burny, sparkly feeling, I like to describe it as. But then, like Rachel's saying, our bodies then do this cleanup work. They're 24 hours a day remodeling, and they're saying, ooh, we need some support here. Let's go build. We don't need as much support here. Let's take some away, right? And so
then Tiffany poops it out.
It's correct. I have been really shitty this series, I'm not going to lie. We talked about that earlier, so we're just touching back on that.
Yes.
But yeah, aside from the fact that we're practically imperfect in every way and somewhat shitty people, we are remodeling, this consistent remodeling. And so yes, down the line, that integration piece can become more rich and abundant as you use movement to explore. Like our movement practice at the gym this morning was so interesting, and we moved slow, and we moved carefully, and we moved with curiosity and with less weight and with lots of connection and mindfulness, so that we could feel into the new ranges and use them and kind of be joyful about the new space that we have. It's really quite fun. We're so grateful to be sharing this together and coming to the close of this series. I mean, we just finished session 11 of 12, and we're coming right up on the end, and it's definitely bittersweet. We have enjoyed thoroughly our learning experience, our classmates, San Diego, all of the talking to you guys. And, we're excited to move on to season 2 and to bring more conscious collaborators into our movement.
We absolutely are. I don't know if you want to share what Tom had said to you while I was away this morning in class, just about...
Yeah, he said that he was concerned a little bit that sometimes friends, when they choose each other and and give the series to each other, that sometimes, even subtly as it may happen, that they don't pursue each other's number 3 areas, that they listen too much to what the other person is saying, and they don't go beyond with their practitioner lens and say, I hear you, and I am going to touch in on that thing you feel, and I also see something else. And so I'm going to go where I'm seeing this and see what we find, right? And he said that he was really grateful to see that we had been doing that with each other, and that we had broken beyond that sort of mold or experience that he had had with other friend groups in the past, and that he was pleased. So it felt good.
It did. You know, we would love to hear from you. If there's somebody in your world that you've heard about, podcasted, somebody that is in this space that you'd like to hear a collaborative conversation with us, Tiff and I, or just the fact that you have a question that you want to ask, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We always love to see communication with people who are in this like-minded space, or very curious about growing into themselves in a new way.
We want to grow this community, and that means connection. And so, albeit maybe it's, here in the technology space, but we would love to connect with you that way first, and maybe eventually in our own communities if you're around.
Your attunement is everything, and we appreciate yours.
Thank you. Have a great day.